with throwing hammers and trying not to bail on WHSN.
Welcome, one and all, to the inaugural episode of Hammers and Bales. I'm the captain of this so-called ship, Adam Sayre. Now, you may be asking yourself, what kind of show is this? What's it about? And what do hammers have to do with bales? Well, those are very good questions. Let me answer them for you. We'll start off with the first one. What kind of show is this? Well, this show is about skateboarding, plain and simple. Now for the second question. What is this show about? Well, it's about anything that has to do with skateboarding. I'm talking about the products, culture, anything under the sun that has to do with skateboarding. And the third question, what do hammers have to do with bales? And what does this have to do with skateboarding? Well, I'm going to fill you in right now. Hammers are what happen at the end of skateboarders' parts in videos. Basically, they're best tricks. Saving the best for last. Throwing some hammers down. Or just doing a sick trick on a rail, cap, or anything that ends up in the way of a skateboard. And bales, well, that's the fall, so not so glamorous part of skateboarding. So in a nutshell, I cover the best and worst from the skateboarding world. Okay, let's jump right into things then. Let's educate your cranium with a little skateboarding news on a little segment on hammers and bales I like to call Skate Update. Danny Way has suffered a major fall while skating the mega ramp in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Doctors say he has broken 2 vertebrae in his back, but is expected to make a full recovery. Doctors say he needs 6 months off before he can get back on a board. Slap Skateboard magazine has gone digital. No more monthly issues at all. You can go to slapmagazine.com and check it out for yourself. It's still the same great Slap magazine, except it's online and free. They have audio interviews with pro skaters like Alex Olson, photos, videos, blogs, and much more. Just go to slapmagazine.com and see for yourself. Flip Skateboards has switched its distribution house. They have moved from Blitz to NHS. Jeremy Fox, CEO of Flip States, has stated this. This move makes perfect sense for the Flip brand as well as for NHS as our new distribution partner, and we feel there is a great synergy in terms of direction and commitment between the two companies. Pierre Wellender, one of the original owners of Flip Skateboards Inc. and the CEO of Blitz Distribution, states that this deal will allow Blitz to focus on Baker Skateboards, Fury Trucks, Birdhouse Skateboards, Skate Mafia, Hookups, and JSLV Clothing. Furthermore, this will allow Blitz more time and effort to flow into developing new brands. The Do Tour has received some new management. Ally or Alliance of Action Sports will take over managing the AST Do Tour, the Free Flow Tour, and the AST China. It would also start managing 3 new contests, the Mallow Money Cup, which is the biggest purse in skateboarding, AMA Motocross Championship, and the King of Wake. Tony Hawk has video games, bikes, a tour named after him, and his own foundation to raise money for skateboarding. And the list goes on. And now he's added vitamins to the list. You can get your 11 vitamins and minerals in gummy form from the Birdman himself, in the shape of skateboard decks, wheels, and the signature bird skull. Just go to your local store if you want to try some, but I would not suggest going to your local skate shop to find these. Thrasher announces this year's SOTY, or Skater of the Year. After all the votes were counted, Silas Baxter Neal was the winner. He now joins such past winners as Arto Sari, Daewon Song, and last year's winner Mark Johnson. You can go to thrashermagazine.com just to see why he was voted Skater of the Year. That's it for the skate update here on Hammers and Bales. Coming up next, I got the Commander-in-Chief of the Old Town Orono YMCA skate park, Carl Crawford. We're gonna find out what he likes to do when he's not in charge of a grade A skate park. That's all coming up next here on Hammers and Bales on 89.3 WHSN.
Commander-in-Chief.
Welcome back to Hammers and Bales. I'm the host, Adam Sayre. We're now in the section of Commander-in-Chief. Carl Crawford was kind enough to join me in the WHSN studios today as Commander-in-Chief of the Old Town Orono YMCA skate park. I saw your real title. What is your real title?
It's Teen and Community Outreach Director.
So how long have you been at this role?
For a couple years now. It was 2 years in August of this year.
So what are some of the perks of this sort of Commander-in-Chief role or Community Teen Outreach Director role at the YMCA park?
Perks is that I work in a pretty cool facility, and I got a weight room I get to work out in, game room, foam pit. The best things, though, a climbing wall, and, of course, a skate park.
Do you offer lessons for beginner skaters here at this Old Town Orono YMCA skate park?
Yeah, we do. We provide everything from boards to helmets. We run a 6-week program. It basically teaches them progression. Starts off with push motion rolls, how to stop, and progresses up to ramps, up into even trying their first ollies.
Is this a good place to learn?
Absolutely. The floor, there's a couple reasons. The floor is nice and smooth. Outside, you can experience lots of sticks and rocks and things, and beginners, cracks in the pavement, rough tars. It's hard for them to concentrate. Our surface is really nice and smooth, so it's easy just to work on your balance, and if you fall, it doesn't tear you to pieces. The other thing that's nice is that it's a controlled atmosphere. It can be private for just the kids that are trying to learn, so they can focus on what they're doing. We don't have to worry about the elements, rainy days shutting them down, things like that.
Do you teach at the park?
Not anymore. I used to, but I've kind of passed that torch along. I have several staff that work the park, and a few of the guys that actually instruct the classes.
What's your favorite place to skate? What's your favorite spot to skate?
That's a good question. I like the park because it's something that the locals really created. So it's nice that we get to kind of put things in. But it's hard to say. I guess probably one of the favorite spots is where I learned in Hamden at the school. A little downhill, little curbs to jump over and stuff, and that's something that it's still fun to go back there and mess around. Other parks, Bangor's Park, Lewiston's a blast. It's just I really appreciate different elements, and so wherever I am, if I have a chance to throw the board down, that's kind of fun to do. Since
you said the YMCA skate park is one of your favorite places to skate, what's your favorite element in the park?
I would have to say our pyramid setup with the quarters at each end. We have a 4-foot quarter and a roll in at one end. Faces a pyramid up and over, and then a big 6-foot, 7-foot quarter at the other end with a flat bank. Those are my favorite things to mess around on. I'm getting to the point where I can ollie, and I'm ollieing in different surfaces, and I'm a little bit more ramp orientated as I'm older, and the streets impact skating really bugs my knees nowadays. So that's probably what I have the most fun on.
When you're not skateboarding or running a skate park, what do you do?
Well, I like to play in the woods. I guess my second love would be just outdoor stuff. I like to hike, like to mountain bike. Got back into mountain biking this year quite a bit. Just being outside and kind of playing and having fun.
Got a favorite mountain to hike?
I like Gulf Haggis. It's a kind of a little valley, and then it's Chairback Mountain that's next to that. It's a really nice climb with a little pond that's on the mountain, and that's a nice place to go. It's kind of northern western Maine.
Do you have to be a member of the YMCA to skate this skate park you guys run?
Oh, absolutely not. Membership is probably one of the better deals if you're going to frequent the park often, because with a membership, everything is included. So you pay your monthly fee and you come as much as you want. But with a $7 day pass, you can access the park per day. There's also punch passes you can buy that kind of break that down. So it all kind of depends on where you live and how often you're going to want to come.
Now, you just mentioned punch passes. Are those kind of like season passes almost, or like one of those like coffee cards you get if you go 5 times, you get the 6th one free?
Absolutely, like the coffee card. You buy, let's say you're going to buy a 10-pass punch pass. It breaks it down to about $5 a day, so you save a couple bucks off the day pass, and you get it in free the day you buy it. They don't expire, so it's not like a yearly thing, so you could keep it for a couple years. It's good for guys that maybe live out of town that know they're going to show up, over the year, but they can't come several times a month.
So what are the hours of the park?
It varies. For the most part, 3 to 8 during the week, but we do offer some different age times. Like 3 to 4 is our youth skate. It's K through 8th. After that, we often have our classes or maybe clubs and things like that. We offer a girls skate hour on Thursday that goes from 4 to 5. It's just for girls to skate so that they can kind of do their thing without being embarrassed around the boys. Wednesdays and Fridays, it's 3 to 8 straight through open. The weekends are 12 to 4 is our open skate times, and it is 2 to 6 on Sundays. So that's when people can come and kind of do the thing.
So you said you had age groups for the younger skaters. Do you have anything for the older skaters, like 18 and up?
Yeah, we've done this in the past, and I'm willing to do something like this in the future. Skateboarding definitely our main population is probably that mid-teen, but we do have a lot of older skaters in our area, and kind of give them their own time. We're looking at night times, maybe when they're after work, doing something after hours after we're closed, and a 3-hour session on a weekend or something like that. We've done it a few times. We get to play whatever music we want and kind of let the guys do their things. So.
You have any big expansion plans for the park coming up in the future?
Right now, working on some street stuff. We've actually got a jam coming up, and we're hoping to pay off. We have a new box rail that we're going to put in, a couple new boxes, and more street elements. And then the next kind of major ramp expansion is we're going to make an addition to our mini ramp, put in a pump bump, something like that, so and improve some of the existing things we have in there.
Last question. What's your favorite hammer of all time? What is the worst bail you've ever seen?
Is this in person or on video?
Just in general, person, video.
It's really hard to say what the best and what the most impact stuff is. I've seen some of the trips we've done. There's a fellow named Danny from down in Ellsworth, and he's throwing himself off some things down in Bath. He just kind of come out of the blue with some ollies. It's not a big flip trick or down anything big, but it was, it's a pretty big gap to see in person. So I suppose probably the Bath ollie was something that he impressed me with. And the gnarliest slam, we have a fella named Zach Pope, young kid at the park. And that was another one of our trips. We went to Sugarloaf, and they've got I think it's an 8-foot quarter there, of which he attempted to drop in on. And our biggest ramp in the park, what the kids are used to, is a 6 foot. And he climbed up on that, went for it, and he pretty much just went from the top straight to the flat in a big crumple. And it was a pretty gnarly slam. It was pretty scary looking, and he got up and kept going. So that was probably one of the biggest slams I've seen.
That was the Commander-in-Chief of the Old Town Orono YMCA, Carl Crawford. Make sure to keep it locked on Hammers and Bales because I have an interview with a local ripper from Old Town and also a game of skate. So keep your radio crosshairs on 89.3 WHSN.
With throwing hammers and trying not to bail on WHSN.
Welcome back to Hammers and Bales here on 89.3 WHSN. It's time for the hard-hitting section of Hammers and Bales, the game of skate. Skate. Now, some of you skaters may be asking yourself, how can you play a game of skate on the radio? And that's a good question. What you do is you take two products of similar nature and you compare them on a head-to-head competition and what I like to call Hammers and Bales skate. Now, I have two products here. I have the Blind Eternal Life deck versus the Element Push Construction. Now, these decks are very similar in construction, and they both go after the same market. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. The Eternal Life deck from Blind versus the Element Push Construction. Now, the first letter up for grabs is S, which you don't want. Now, the Eternal Life deck comes with a 90-day limited warranty. What that warranty covers against is warping, delamination, and breakage for a period of 90 days. And Element, well, has no warranty, so it's pretty obvious where the letter goes to there, and the letter goes to Element S. Now, if you want to check out the full warranty on the Eternal Life deck from Blind, just go to blindskateboards.com and check it out for yourself. Now, next category, or trick if you're following along, is sizes and shapes. Now, Blind comes in one shape but varies in sizes. An Element comes in different sizes and a choice of 15 deck shapes, so you will get the ride you want. Very customizable. The letter goes to Blind, and Blind gets the letter S. Alright, now it's time for the weigh-in. How much the decks weigh. Now, this is very important because the lighter the deck is, the less weight you have to bring up when you pop your trick. The first product up in the weight category is Element. Now, the Element Push Construction deck is also made with the Helium Construction. And what that means is the Element Push Construction deck has pockets of helium throughout the board, which makes it a few ounces lighter. And the Blind deck is made with normal construction, but just a thin layer of Texlium or fiberglass through the top layer. The Element deck is lighter, so the letter goes to Blind. K. The next category up is advertisement. Now, what that means is, when you see the advertisement for the Blind Eternal Life deck, is that really what you're getting? Alright, now the first competitor up is Element, because they did win the last one, so they keep going. And Blind is still on the defense. Now, the Element deck shows the actual amount of fiberglass in the deck without misleading the consumer. Now, Blind, the deck shows almost a whole layer of fiberglass in its ad, which is misleading because the actual layer of fiberglass in the top layer of the deck is only about 3 inches. And when you look at the advertisement, it looks like it covers almost the entire top layer. Now, with the evidence shown, I say the letter goes to Blind. A. The next category up is variety. Now, Element, they've always come out with different variety of graphics, colors. Obviously, they had the 15 different shapes and sizes. Now, Blind. In my experience, I barely ever see any variety in the graphics from Blind. All you ever really see is the Grim Reaper skull, or the Grim Reaper guy, or just a lot of graphics geared towards violence. And Element just has a lot more variety, I think. So the letter goes to Blind. T. The next category could be the last category for blind because they do have an S, a K, an A, and a T. One more letter and they are out. The next category is availability. Which deck is more available when you go out and look for it? Now, when I did my research and when I was looking at online stores, the major online skate shops, I found that Element was more abundant and in more variety than the blind. And also, when I went around looking at local skate shops in Maine, I also found that the Element was more abundant than the blind itself. So it's bittersweet sorrow for the blind when they get their final letter. Well, that's it for Skate here on Hammers and Bales. You better keep it locked to 89.3 WHSN because I have the local Ripper section coming up next.
Local Ripper.
Welcome back to Hammers and Bales here on 89.3 WHSN. We're in the local Ripper section here. I got Calvin here for an interview. So, Calvin, where are you from?
I'm from Old Town.
Is that where you're originally from?
I was born in Florida, but I moved to Maine, Old Town, when I was 3. So, more or less, I'm from Old Town.
How long have you been skateboarding?
It'll be 9 years, I think, in April. 8 or 9.
9 years in April. So that was about 1999 when you started skateboarding, huh?
Correct.
Did you grow up skating in Vacation Land?
Yeah, for 3 months a year. No, it's rough. Yeah, I grew up shoveling off stair sets and doing whatever I had to skate in the winter, go out with gloves and jackets and,
It's very hard to get other people motivated to go skate when it's negative 15 degrees outside.
Yeah, I never had more than 2 people with me during a January sesh.
I know, I always used to go out by myself, or like I go out, I used to have this barn I used to skate in, take like these crappy pieces of carpet, throw them out there and just like carpet skate for hours on end.
I had a mini in my basement for a while, actually. That was handy in the wintertime.
Some people get mini ramps, I get carpet.
I lived the pampered life, Adam.
Do you remember your first setup?
I do, actually. I remember the whole thing. I had a birdhouse, Willie Santos mammoth deck. I don't know. I must have just liked the picture.
All right. So what were your trucks, wheels? Go right into it.
All right. I had Crux, blue hangers, I think. I don't remember why. Speed Demon wheels because I got a free little keychain, and I guess since I had no keys, I needed a keychain. Just generic hardware and risers, and probably China Red bearings.
Definitely, if you're into skateboarding, you remember everything about your first setup. Do you remember your first skate shoe at all?
I went to the mall, and I finally conned my mother into spending way too much money on a pair of DC Essence, and I would wash them, and I babied those shoes so much, and eventually they just turned into a pile of leather.
Beat the shoes up like the OG money, huh?
Yeah, that's what you do.
Do you remember the first time you broke a skateboard?
No, surprisingly enough. I'm pretty sure it was that birdhouse, and I'm pretty sure I did it on this crappy rail I had that got run over and was all lumpy, and I probably just ollied way too high into a board slide and came down way too hard.
So where and when did you start skateboarding?
In Old Town, 7th grade. I got my board in the mail. It was like 10 Christmases at once. Went out and started pushing. I could ollie the little sewer drains, but not the big ones yet. I remember that. That took me a few months. And then I could do frontside 180s. So basically it was a lot of curb session. I would go hang out with the older skaters.
When I first started skating, I used to skate this park in Ellsworth called Inner Sanctum.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The older guys, you watch the older guys try to pick up things from them, but they were very not into teaching you at all. They really just wanted to see you fall and eat it.
Yep.
Kind of pay your dues.
Yep. But that's the thing, though. If I knew then what I know now, and I try to tell kids this all the time at the park, older guys don't care if you try and fall. They just want you to try. They give you way more respect for going out there and eating it a bunch of times than standing in their way or just standing out of their way. Go there. You're not going to get good standing there.
What's your favorite spot you have ever skated?
It really depends on what I'm doing, what I feel like doing that day. I really like the Rockland Park. I really like the Euro at the Rockland Park. It's nice. It's got good flow to it. It's big, but you don't notice it. It's big enough to where it requires you to pop your trick, but not inconveniently large.
What was your favorite trick to throw down at the your favorite spot?
I used to be all about backside flips. I used to backside flip like it was my job.
When you're skating at your favorite spot, you did your favorite trick, but what was the worst slam you took at your favorite spot?
Well, I mean, I've broken my leg at the park, but I don't think that counts. Yeah. Probably the worst slam. We were skating these little mani pads out behind Hannaford's in Old Town. We were skating this little mani pad. I didn't have quite enough speed to make it, and I kind of fell off at the end. And if anyone's ever fallen off at the end of a mani pad, your board kind of launches you forward like a catapult. And I went into this shopping cart that was full of metal racks at an upward incline. Basically punched me in the nose and ripped my right nostril like off. Like it was disconnected and just kind of hanging.
Oh, man.
I have a pretty sweet scar from that.
What do you like to skate? What's your favorite place to skate? Is it park, street, pool, mini vert?
It's been mini. I feel like there's a lot more stuff I can do with that. I usually I'll go over and I want to be good at mani pads and rails and ledges and whatnot, and I'll go over and I'll suck at that for a little while, and I always seem to find my way back to the mini.
Do you skate the Old Town Y Park a lot?
Pretty much every day.
So what do you think of the park? Is it fun to skate?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest area, and it sees heavy traffic in the colder months, so it can get bogged down, and if the flow's too bad, I'll usually just sit it out.
So the Old Town Y holds a lot of skate contests and skate events. What was your favorite event there, you think?
Probably our last contest. We had a little box jam. It went pretty much exactly how I knew it would. It was a 10-minute jam, and one of our guys ended it in the first minute and then stepped it up even further.
Yeah, Dave Green, the nose blunt 270.
Yeah, he got nose blunt first try to warm up. The competition was pretty much done from then on. And then he 270'd out of nose blunt. Just, I don't know.
Just get
nail in the coffin.
Just
that's
get
it.
out.
Yeah.
Since you've been skating in this area for a few years, do you think the skateboard community will get stronger in the years to come or weaker?
There's a lot of kids coming up. It seems it's still a healthy interest among young kids, which is cool. My biggest concern is that the kids coming up learn to skate responsibly. If they go to a spot, you move a bench, you put a bench back when you're done. You don't go there and cause a ruckus and leave your trash everywhere. If you like that spot, you need to put effort into making sure that spot lasts. Any young guys listening to this, feel free to take it upon yourselves to tell the other dudes not to be idiots at your spot, because they could just as easily blow your spot.
Last question. Best hammer you've ever seen, worst bail you've ever seen?
Best hammer I've ever seen. Watch the end of Fully Flared. Watch the last 3 parts in Fully Flared.
Worst bail?
Oh, I don't know. You probably remember this. I don't remember the guy's name, but he tried a long, low, double kinked rail, and he popped out from the first set and then landed just about the tip, like where the second kink starts going down on the second set, and it broke open his package.
Oh my god, I totally blocked that out of my memory because that was such a horrible bail.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean,
he put a diaper on and kept skating. I couldn't believe it.
That's a man.
That's going to go down in Hammers and Bales history as the worst bail ever seen on camera. Well, I just want to thank you, Kelvin, for coming in today to the WHSN studios.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, that's it for the maiden voyage of Hammers and Bales. I would like to thank Carl Crawford and Calvin of the Old Town Orono YMCA for coming in. And if you want to find out more about the stories you heard on today's show, you can check out skatedaily.net for more information. And you've been listening to tracks from the latest Beastie Boys album, The Mix Up, courtesy of Capitol Records, and Booker T and the MGs, off the album Green Onions, courtesy of Atlantic Recordings. Well, now that winter's here does not mean to stop skateboarding. It just means to get a little more creative. Or you can go to the warm indoor skate park up at the Old Town Orono YMCA. And remember, they have punch passes now. The day you get it, you get a free pass into the park for the day. Or you can check out the shred and go snowboarding. Whatever you do, just make sure you enjoy yourself. Well, I'm Adam Sayre, and you've been listening to the inaugural episode of Hammers and Bales here on 89.3 WHSN.